Welcome. Today we will tell you a tale.
It is about the Amazon rainforest.
It is called the Great Kapok Tree. Two men walked into the forest. Moments before, the forest had been alive with the sound of squawking birds and howling monkeys.
Now all was quiet as the creatures watched the two men and wondered why they had come.
The larger man stopped and pointed to the Great Kapok Tree. Then he laughed.
The smaller man took the axe he carried and pointed and struck the trunk of the tree. Whack!
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 The sounds of blows rang through the forest.
The wood of the tree was very hard.
Chop!
Chop! Chop!
The man wiped off the sweat that ran down his face and neck.
Whack!
Chop!
Whack!
Chop!
Soon the man grew tired.
He sat down to rest at the foot of the Great Kapok Tree.
Before he knew it,
The heat and hum of the forest
had lulled him to sleep. A boa constrictor lived in the kapok tree. She slithered down its trunk to where the man was sleeping. She looked at the gash the axe had made in the tree. Then the huge snake slid very close to the man and hissed in his ear.
Senor, this tree is a tree of miracles. It is my home, where generations of my ancestors have lived. We like the cold darkness of the shade this tree provides. We like to curl around the lines that hang from its branches. Do not chop it down, please.
Two bees buzzed in the sleeping man's ear.
Senor, our hive is in this kapok tree. We fly from tree to tree and flower to flower, collecting pollen. In this way, we pollinate the trees and flowers throughout the rainforest. You see, all living things depend on one another. Do not cut down the Great Kapok Tree. Please, please, please.
A troop of monkeys scampered down from the canopy of the kapok tree. They chattered to the sleeping man.
Senor, we live in the tops of the trees in the rainforest. This is called a canopy. It is a sunny place that touches the sky. We leap from branch to branch in the warm sunlight, but we have seen the ways of man. You chop down one tree and then come back for another and another. The roots of these great trees will wither and die, and there will be nothing left to hold the earth in place. When the heavy rains come, the soil will be washed away, and the rainforest will be turned into a desert. Please do not chop down the Great Kapok Tree.
A toucan, a macaw, and a cock of the rock flew down from the canopy.
Senor, you must not cut down this tree. We too live high in the treetops.
Many colorful birds live there.
We fly from tree to tree. We have flown over the rainforest and seen what happens once you begin to chop down trees.
Many people settle on the land. They set fires to clear the underbrush, and soon the forest disappears.
Where once there was beauty, only black, smoldering ruins remain. Please,
Please,
please, don't chop down the Great Kapok Tree. A bright and small tree frog crawled along the edge of a leaf. In a squeaky voice, she piped in the man's ear.
Senor, a ruined rainforest means ruined lives. Many ruined lives. It will leave many of us homeless if you cut down the Great Kapok Tree. We've lived here all our lives. We don't want to leave our home. Won't you reconsider? Won't you let this tree live?
The jaguar had been sleeping on a branch in the middle of the tree.
Because his spotted coat blended into the dappled light and shadows of the understory, no one had noticed him.
Now he leapt down and patted silently over the sleeping man. He growled in the man's ear.
Senor, the Great Kapok Tree is home to many birds and animals. If you cut it down, where will I find my dinner? My life, many lives depend upon this tree. I beg you, please don't chop it down.
Three porcupines swung down from branch to branch and whispered to the man.
Senor, do you know what we animals and humans need in order to live? Oxygen.
And Senor, do you know what trees produce?
Oxygen. If you chop down the forest, you will destroy that which gives us all life.
Why not let this tree live so that we may all live?
Please, don't chop down the Great Kapok Tree. Several anteaters climbed down the kapok tree with their young clinging to their backs.
The striped anteater said to the man,
Senor, you are chopping down this tree with no thought for the future. And surely you know what happens tomorrow. Depends on what you do today.
The big man tells you to chop down this beautiful tree.
He does not think of his own children, who tomorrow must live in a world without trees.
Don't chop down the Great Kapok Tree.
Please. A three-toed sloth had begun climbing down from the canopy when the men first appeared. Only now did he reach the ground.
Plodding ever so slowly over to the sleeping man, he spoke in his deep and lazy voice.
Senor, how much is beauty worth? Can you live without it? If you destroy the beauty of the rainforest, on what would you feast your eyes? It would be a very dreary world indeed without the colorful forest. Think what you are doing. Don't chop down the Great Kapok Tree.
Senor, I'm from the Yanomama tribe. I too live in the rainforest with my family. Today many creatures have spoken to you. They have asked you to protect our forest home. They have asked you not to cut down the Great Kapok Tree. When you awake, please look upon us all with new eyes. The man awoke with a start. Before him stood the rainforest child.
And all around him, staring, were the creatures who depended upon the Great Kapok.
what wondrous animals they were.
The man looked about and saw the sun streaming through the canopy. Spots of bright light glowed like jewels amidst the dark green rainforest. Strange and beautiful plants seemed to dangle in the air, suspended from the Great Kapok Tree.
I wonder how long I have been sleeping. It is so strange. I don't remember seeing so many beautiful plants and flowers before. Surely the sun has never shone this brightly.
The man smelled the fragrant perfume of the flowers. He felt the steamy mist rising from the forest floor.
But he heard no sound, for the creatures were strangely silent.
What marvelous animals! So many shapes and sizes and colors. Many times I have been in the rainforest, and yet it seems as though I have never seen it, truly seen it until now. This is a wonderful place, and this is a magnificent tree. Well, I guess I better get back to work.
The man stood and picked up his axe. He swung back his arm as though to strike the tree.
Suddenly he stopped.
He turned and looked at the animals and the child.
He hesitated. Then he dropped the axe and walked out of the rainforest.